Dark Souls 3. Is it worth a buy? Let's read the words of the developer. Dark Souls continues to push the boundaries with the latest ambitious chapter in the critically acclaimed and genre-defining series. Prepare yourself and embrace the darkness. Guys, this has got to be Game of the Year. This is the best game I've ever played. It is astounding, amazing, brilliant. I just can't fault it. There is literally nothing wrong with this game. This is the first perfect game that has ever been released on the PC. And I've been PC gaming for 20 odd years, guys, but nothing prepared me for the amazingness that this game has brought to me. I am absolutely staggered. I was so impressed with this game that upon defeating the first boss, I took all my clothes off and ran up and down my village front street yelling yabba dabba doo with a bell, guys. Do you reckon all the Dark Souls fanboys that have gone now? Think that's enough? Yeah? Alright, shall I go on with the review now? Awesome. Yeah, guys, Dark Souls 3, what a pile of fucking piss this is. How can you have a pile of piss? I suppose it could be frozen. Like if it froze as it's coming out of your dick, and that it could be a pile. Where do I start? Well, I'll start at the beginning, guys. I'm using a mouse and keyboard, so get over that. Get over that fact. It's my preferred weapons of choice. I have tried this game with a controller, and yes, it works with a controller fine. But I don't like a controller, and this game says that it works with a mouse and keyboard, so there you go. Now, this actually works control-wise better with a mouse and keyboard than all the other Dark Souls games. I found it easier to turn and shit like that with the keyboard and mouse. Much better than I did in any of the other Dark Souls games. The problem with the keyboard and mouse in this game is that the game doesn't give a fuck that you're using a keyboard and mouse. As you start off the game, and I'm very new to Dark Souls, I haven't a fucking clue how to play a Dark Souls game, to be honest. Well, I do now, but, you know, until I played this, I didn't really, what the fuck. So, you go along and it has all these hints on the floor, and it'll say, press A to do this. Well, I'm using mouse and keyboard. It knows I'm using mouse and keyboard because I selected mouse and keyboard, yet it gives me all the instructions as if I was using a controller. I'm like not knowing how to do fucking anything unless I go into the options at each stage and look up what the equivalent of right bumper is to my keyboard bindings. Lazy, awful fucking programming by this amateur fucking company that can't fucking make PC games to save their lives. This is worse than Batman, guys. This port is worse than Batman because not only have they totally fucked up the binding of the keys, but half of the key commands don't even work if you're on a keyboard and mouse. For example, I can't kick, I can't parry, I can't riposte, just can't do it. I'm gimped. So the way I like to look at it is this: all you guys are using a controller, I like to kind of think of you as you're on easy mode. I'm playing hardcore mode. I'm playing on a keyboard and mouse, which is much harder than a controller. I don't have as many abilities as you guys, so therefore, get good and use a keyboard and mouse, then you can come and tell me you're good at Dark Souls. So I'm playing on hardcore mode, so I'm talking to everybody else who's playing it on pussy mode. So what's the game like then? Enough of that. Well, it is boring, in my opinion. What you do in this game is you fight trash mob, then you'll fight a boss. And the boss fights revolve around roll, hit, block, roll, backstep, hit, block, hit, roll, backstep, roll, because he did a double attack the boss there, so it's a roll for that. Your invulnerable roll. When you roll, you can't be hit, you see. It's all about timing. It's all about watching the boss, and when he's committed himself to an attack, that's when you have to commit yourself to get the fuck out of the way of it. And that's what it is in every single fight. Now, the boss fights can last about 10 minutes, and if you make maybe 2 mistakes during the boss fight, you will be dead. It is one of the most, if not the most, unforgiving game I've ever played in my life. Even I was shocked at it, and I've played some tough games in my time, but nothing prepared me for the brutality of Dark Souls 3. It's like, you know, my wife walks in the room and says, oh, I've brought a cup of tea for you in the middle of a boss fight. Oh, thanks, just put it down. Oh, shit! It took me 10 fucking minutes, I had him. I almost had him, and you distracted me with a cup of fucking tea. So you have to not just start the boss fight again, but you go back to the nearest bonfire. Now, this causes a big problem, because if you're playing anything other than a knight, you've got a pretty much a 70% chance of fucking crashing, which is fucking annoying. Now, I played the knight, luckily, so I didn't have that problem. Or so I thought. I was playing the knight because I thought, hey, look, I'll play the knight. I like knights. I was a paladin in all my RPG games, so I kind of like the shiny armor shit. So I'm, you know, going through the tutorial. I found this, I don't know, it was like an animal covered in ice. It's just like a really tough thing. And so it raped me, it two-shotted me, because I didn't understand what was going on. And then I realised, alright, it's kind of like a boss thing. So I went in and I just watched what it did, and it rolls, it jumps, and you just time again, you just wait for it to commit itself, then you go in and hit, jump out the way. It's committed itself, hit, prod, you take off like 5 hit points off it, you know, when every time you prod it. So that's why it takes like 10 minutes for a fight. And then you kill it, and then you move on. And then I came to the first proper boss, which is this guy who you pull a sword out of him. This is the first boss. It's a tutorial boss, but it's still a boss. And again, this guy, Mr. Predictable, he does like 2 sweeping moves. If you get in too close, he'll stab you and fly you around and round on the end of his sword, which looks fucking hilarious. And then after you get him to half health, he turns into this mutated spasm thing, which is the most confusing thing to kill ever, because you can't tell what the fuck it's doing. It's the worst looking boss I think I've ever seen in a game in my life. It is just awful and shittily done. It's just garbage. It's like a guy's legs and half of his torso with this giant, looks like someone's had a giant shit on him, and the shit is just like trying to hit you, and then he's got a skeleton claw. It's kind of so fucked up that you don't know what it's doing, you can't tell whether it's attacking or defending. So all I did is I just ran in and just raped its face, and that's how I did it with all the characters that I've played on. So, but back on the night, I did that, and then I went to this citadel to level up, and there was a woman there, and I accidentally, because the keyboard controls are so fucked up, I accidentally hit her with my sword, didn't I? And so she says, oh, well, f*** you then, I'm not speaking to you again. And I'm like, it was a fucking accident, love. Alright, I'm playing a fucking awful console port with a mouse and keyboard. Cut me some slack, love, because I've just had to fight Mr. Big Fucker. You know, he killed me 3 times. Well, technically he killed me twice. He's the one I rolled off the fucking cliff when I was fighting him. But, you know, at the end of the day, I've had a hard time. I'm learning the game. Just cut me some slack and let me level up. No, you hit me with your sword, so you can just go fuck yourself. And so I lost my temper, and she had a friend who was sitting there. He looked depressed as fuck. So I hit him with the sword on my way out, and he didn't like that, and so he two-shotted me. And then I thought, alright, fuck you then. So I respawned, and I respawn in the same room as them, and every time I respawn, he leaps on me and two-shots me. And I went on the forums, and I asked if there's a way out of this, and they said, no, you have to start the game again. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? I thought, wait, fuck it, I'm not going to play the knight. I'm going to play a different class then. Because I was getting bored with the knight anyway. It was so boring, the kind of, you know, roll, stab, block, back, roll, stab, block, back, roll, stab, block, back. You know, it was just getting so fucking... yeah. So I rolled this guy with a spear and a sword. I thought he might be a bit more interesting. And it crashed when I got near the bonfire with that guy. So I rolled a pyromancer and that crashed. And so then I rolled a warrior and that crashed. Now the biggest boss I've ever seen is the bonfire boss. It just keeps crashing my game. AAA game, guys. It's £40 this game, and you know, £55 if you've got the deluxe edition. And it's been out for a while. Streamers have had this for fucking months, and they were mentioning these bugs back when they were streaming it weeks ago, and they've done fuck all to fix them on launch. And the reason I've stopped playing the game is because my knight character's fucked, and it's the only character really that you can progress without having to go through all the fucking crashes. And can I just say that one of the crashes has pretty much fucked my PC up. Well, unless it's just a big coincidence, but now my PC won't boot up properly since all the crashes that was happening yesterday with Dark Souls. It's a hard game. I'm not going to deny that it's hard. I mean, if you know, and is that the draw then? Is that the draw? Because I just found the combat really dull and boring. This is why I don't play World of Warcraft, you see, because that's what happened with World of Warcraft. The combat got dull and boring. The combat in that game used to be great when you had like 20 odd abilities and you know you were playing with other people that had totally different abilities. But with this game it's like you don't have all them abilities. You know, it's just all the same kind of shit. You know, through a couple of bombs, you've got a little bit of magic going on that you'll get as you level up. A few different moves, an overhead move, a swipey move, a stabby move, you know, but the combat's just disjointed. It just doesn't feel right to me. This is how I feel that this game is. It's like the developers are saying, right, to win this game, you have to be able to dodge his attack and then just get a one in yourself and then just get the fuck out of there. So, you know, you're not doing like this. You know when you see sword fights in games where it's proper sword fighting, like Chivalry, and you block, stab, and you just, you know, you're facing off against a fucking opponent and it's all about skill, feigning and all that. Well, it's not none of that in Dark Souls. You know, it's when you see a sword fencing scene in a movie, it's none of that. It's just boring. It's just roll in, block a bit, when he stumbles, when he's open for attack, you hit him and then you have to get the fuck out of there. And that's why boss fights take like 10 minutes and you do that all the time. And what I've done is I've taken the liberty of watching somebody who's played the game till the end, and I watched one of his late videos and the boss fights is just the same. They're just the same as they are at the fucking beginning. He does exactly the same as what I'm doing, only he has a few more abilities to do it. And I just thought, fuck that, no way. So, that's my view on Dark Souls. Now, you know, the key there is, that's my view. You know, a lot of people are going to love this game. I mean, if you're a Dark Souls fanatic, then I highly recommend it. But you've already got it if you're a Dark Souls fanatic. So, I'm not really talking to you guys. I'm talking to the Bloodborne players here who maybe haven't bought a Dark Souls game. You're going to love it. It's a very brutal, boss-ridden game, and it looks gorgeous as well. I mean, the artwork style of this game is really nice. It looks really atmospheric in some of the levels. Some of the enemies that you face look awesome as well. It's very well animated, it's very well done. The sound's good as well. I'm not sure about the story. It's probably just the usual game story, you know. But, you know, there's a lot there for you if you're into this constant brutal boss fighting and dying and having to do the same fight over and over again till you get there. I mean, I watched a poor lad streaming this last night. My goodness. He failed like about 11 times in a row on this boss, and he wasn't having fun. He was swearing, shouting, cursing. He just wasn't having fun. And, you know, when I watched him, I thought, mate, you paid £40 to be put through that. And I'm like, yeah, no way. No way, that's not why I play games. I don't play games to feel like that. I mean, I did that review of binaries, you know, and you saw how I was with that, but that's a completely different thing. That's something that, you know, it costs a couple of pounds. You just play it for half an hour here, half an hour there. This is a game that you're going to sink hours and hours and hours into. It's a £40 AAA game, and I want a lot more than just boss fight after boss fight rolling around the floor. You know, I need a lot more than that in a AAA game. I want loads more depth than that. And I feel that this has no depth. It's just, you know, a Souls game. It's just a Souls game. That's what a Souls game is. It's just, you know, trash boss. Trash boss. And the boss fights is all the same. It's just like, wait till he's open, hit, roll out the way, wait till he's open, hit, roll out the way, wait till he's open, hit, roll out the way, wait till he's open, hit, roll out the way. I mean, no, f*** off. I'd rather rim job a badger than do that over and over and over again. No chance. But like I say, that's just me. If you're into this kind of stuff, then who am I to say that it's not worth a buy? So I'm going to say that it's worth buying if you're into the likes of Bloodborne and Souls, but if you're just a casual gamer who's just wanting some fun in an RPG, keep well away from this, because there is not a lot of fun to be had, just a lot of hurt and frustration. It's brutal, guys, brutal.